Hey YouTube. Well, me and the wife, we've sat down this year and we've kind of decided what kind of goals that we want for the year. We came up with a ton of ideas and things that we want here on our property, but we kind of narrowed that down to what we think we can kind of achieve this year. So we've got a total of 6 goals for the homestead this year. So our number one goal for 2018 is to move out of this camper and to move into our log cabin. So goal number one is to complete the construction on our home, and is basically get it completed so that we can move in, and also it is to complete all the dirt work surrounding the house. So we have piles of dirt around the house from the original excavation of the basement. So we need to get all these piles of dirt regraded out. Also, to this side of the house, we have where I put our septic tank in, and it's all mounded up where all the leach fields were, and we want to get that all graded out too, and get that all leveled and all the grass planted around the house. So goal number 2 is going to have to do mostly around this bank barn here. Now the reason that's called a bank barn is because it's kind of built into the side of a hill, and it has a lower level on it. So on the bottom level of this barn is animal stalls, and they were last used for horses. So we basically need to update this and make it better for smaller livestock. And we also are going to have to do some things about getting electricity back out to this barn, and some water so that we can keep livestock here during the summer and winter. So on the outside of the barn, we'd like to fence in kind of a small area around the barn. We'd like to put in a few gates in that fence, and basically we're going to make a corral kind of area around the barn so that we can access our animals, maybe feed our animals, and just a small area to contain the animals close to the barn. So on the other side of the corral that we would build, we also want to fence in this pasture area. So we're wanting to fence in along our lane over here, kind of up closer to the orchard, and then across the top of the dam and around into slightly into the woods, and then back around, and then come up back over to the barn. So we'd like to fence in that as a pasture area. We may separate that later on into separate paddocks so that we can have animals separated in different sections. But for right now, we just want the perimeter pasture fence in this area. So goal number 3 is going to have to do with planting trees. So we've planted trees every year we've been here so far, and this year's not going to be any different. So the first year we ended up planting this small 18 tree orchard. Last year we ended up planting over 30 chestnut trees and 8 evergreen trees. So this year we want to continue planting more trees. So we've built our house kind of off the road a little bit. We have a field in between us and the road, and we have this fence line here, and that gives us a little bit of privacy. But my wife would like to end up adding some evergreen trees in a few areas. Also planning on continuing planting more nut trees. I've got more of these chestnut trees that I'm going to try to grow from seed and plant more of those, more probably to the back of the property. And then also I've ordered some almonds and hazelnuts and maybe some pecans, I can't remember. But I've ordered some more of other types of nut trees to plant here on the property. So goal number 4 has to do with the pond on the property. We got a 3.5 acre pond here on this property, and we built our house right next to it. So that's where we're building our new house. And it has this narrow part. There's this narrow part that goes to the west. That's a narrower section of the pond, and that's hard to access unless you row a boat down there. Basically, it's got woods on both sides or trees on both sides. And what we would like to do for goal number 4 is to build a bridge. We have one of the inlets to the pond. This pond is fed in about 3 or 4 different places, but one of the inlets to the pond is over here. and we would like to build a bridge across that to be able to better access this narrow section. And that inlet is basically, it's pond and then goes to a ditch that goes up to the front field. So no matter how you do it, you'd have to have a bridge, or you have to jump the ditch, you know. So ideally we want to build a bridge across and then clear out some sections here along this side of the pond so that we can better fish that area. So last year we acquired these dairy barn posts, and these are basically some massive laminated beams, and they're basically 12 inches wide by 23 inches deep, so they're about a 12 by 24 beam, and they end up being about 23 feet long. So I'd like to find a spot along this narrow part over here that they will span across so that we can have a bridge. We got these fairly cheap from a pole barn builder basically, and got them for about 50 bucks a piece. These are normally, like, they told me they were basically $1,000 beams. I don't know, but anyway, we got these for 50 bucks a piece. So we basically have the main part of the bridge. We just have to build a platform on top of it. So that's one reason that this is a goal for this year, is because we already acquired these beams, so we already have part of the material to build the bridge. So all we need to do is we're going to end up trying to find a place in here where we can span and build this bridge across, and hoping to build it strong enough with those huge beams. It should be strong enough for a four-wheeler, a side-by-side, possibly even a tractor. But the main goal is to be able to probably be able to walk and four-wheeler across this bridge, and be able to get down here and access this narrower part of the pond. So goal number 5 basically is going to have to do with firewood. Currently, I don't really have a place to store firewood. We have a big large pile of firewood near our fire pit that's covered in a tarp, and it's basically just sitting on the ground. So now that I have this wood burning fireplace in the house, this is a it's new, it's efficient fireplace. It's basically a wood stove that fits in the wall. I can use this to heat our home, so I want to be able to utilize this fireplace to help lower my energy bills. So goal number 5 is to actually build a woodshed. I'm going to want to build a woodshed so that we can store and dry our firewood for next winter. So I really want to be able to have enough firewood next winter to be able to burn it and lower our energy costs. So goal number 5 is to build a woodshed. So goal number 6 is we're gonna try our best, is we need to be able to judge how successful we are at getting into this new homesteading style of life. So we are going to track all our expenses, and we're going to break them down into different categories. We're going to track our expenses for our rabbits, for our animals, for our gardening. We're going to track all that, and then we're also going to track what kind of goods that we're able to produce off of that. So we'll track how many eggs we get, we'll track how much meat we get off of rabbits, track how much produce that we get out of our garden and our orchard, and basically it'll be a cost benefit analysis to be able to judge how well we do on the homestead. So I think this is a good exercise to do. You first we need to judge how well we can produce things for ourselves so that it's not costing too much. So this will at least be able to try out what things work, what things don't work, what we're successful at. Goal number 6 is we're going to do our best to track all our expenses and everything that we produce here on the homestead, and then be able to analyze that at the end of the year and see what we need to improve on and what we were good at. So that's it. Wish me luck. We had a bunch of other stuff that we really wanted to do this year, and it it didn't quite make the list. So there'll be other projects that we might do along the way, but we had a huge list and we tried to narrow that down. So we're just going to try to, you know, chip away at this. So wish us luck throughout the year. Hopefully we'll be able to get these goals complete. Thanks for watching.